As you could see, the topic of today is another COVID wave. How can we ride it best? Well, as you all know, we are in our third wave. It has hit our country, and it's very real. And first of all, I just want to say my sincere thoughts and condolences for anyone that's been affected by COVID. We can't take this lightly. It's affected everyone in some sort of degree. Some loved ones close to us or people. Yeah, it's really taken toll. But with navigating through it for a whole year already, and we're learning a lot, I think there's much we can do to empower ourselves in and around health. And I do think that there's a missed opportunity, to be honest. I'm going to be very honest with you today, that we have missed a massive opportunity as world leaders, as healthcare professionals, to educate people about health and well-being. Instead, we've educated them a lot about social distancing and face masks and vaccines. And yes, there's place for that, don't get me wrong. But there's so much more to health and well-being, and that is what I want to talk to about. And really, it's so necessary in this time and age that we become CEOs of our own health. And I think as a modern day society, we've actually really traded our health for just modern lifestyles, and we need to reclaim it and take it back. And I've got a very special guest that's also really passionate about this topic. Our paths has crossed, and I'm so excited to have her. And her name is Dr. Eseza Nambassi, and she's a medical doctor that has got lots of experience actually in the HIV sector, so also a viral disease. And she's committed her life to working in and amongst people in that regard. And there, it's also big time that lifestyle really is so important if you live with a virus like that. And many of you that have HIV will know about it. So now we have another virus, and that's the COVID virus, and we want to talk about how we best can ride this massive wave that is here now again. But before I let her in, I just want to thank our sponsors for this today's show. I'm going to go onto their slide. This is from their website, and it's our faithful brand of a company, Zinplex, and they've got two brand new products, one for adults and one for our kiddies. And what I've done is, their products are already famous and really have shown to work so well. But now we've even got a better formula, and that is with added vitamin D, and stronger compositions. So these products are absolutely beautiful products. The one is is in a syrup form, the other is tablets. Now let's first focus on the tablet one. The product is a unique combination of the micronutrients zinc, picolinate, selenium, vitamin C, and vitamin D3. Now, this combination promotes the optimal function of your immune system and protects cells from damage associated with free radicals, because it is a powerful antioxidant. Then the added value of vitamin C allows the optimum absorption of iron and also assists in promoting the production of collagen in your body. This is essential for the well-being of your skeletal system, joints, and skin. And vitamin C also gives you an added natural boost to your energy levels, helping you beat fatigue. And then vitamin D assists in keeping your immune system balanced, as it helps cell beat stress. It may protect you during incidents of colds and flu, and we also really know with COVID. Now, this product is triple the power of the triple protection with the added benefits of vitamin C and D3. So that is similar. The similar combination of micronutrients is in the Junior syrup. You can find their products at Dischem, Clicks, leading pharmacies, or else online on their website. So I can't wait to get going with Dr. Eseza. It's going to be a powerful conversation. Welcome, Dr. Eseza. See if she's here. You can come in. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Margaret.
Hi, Doc. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm loud and clear and no echo.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we sorted out the technical issues, and now that we can hear you well, because I know you've got some real pearls to share, seeing with your history as a medical doctor and also how you've progressed into more holistic health and well-being. And that is something I'm also very passionate about, and that we at Sensitive Midwifery and Sister Lillian Center are standing for. Maybe you would like to just first tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got onto this beautiful journey where you are at now.
Okay, there seems to be a bit of an echo. Let me see. Is the echo gone?
We can't hear an echo on our side.
Okay, cool. This journey, I can say I've been on all my life. And when I was a little girl, I had this beautiful vision of a healthy, happy world with everybody knowing their responsibility primarily, and everybody knowing what to eat, how to look after the environment, and almost the stuff that fairy tales are made out of. And as I grew, we're going back quite a few years, I must warn you, I looked around and realized that a lot of dis-ease or sickness is as a result of poor nutrition. And I became particularly passionate about nutrition. And I remember distinctly, as children, our father used to insist on us eating vegetables and fish and things like that. And he was quite particular about what went into our bodies. So I guess that's where I got the passion from. And then as I was speaking about prevention and preventative medicine, everybody was saying that, okay, your path should be to become a doctor. But I said, what I would actually like to do is to study biochemistry and physiology and specialize in human nutrition. But now I'm talking in the 70s, not now recently, but 70s. And it wasn't fashionable to promote preventative practices as much as it should have been, let me say. Everybody was saying to be a respectable person, you have to get a profession such as a medical doctor. So that's how I eventually acceded and went to medical school. And all through my years there, I kept saying, this is preventable. That is preventable. That shouldn't be, I'll give you an example. When you hear a patient's diagnosis as alcoholic cardiomyopathy, okay, that eventually tells you that cardiomyopathy, the disease of the heart, cardiomyopathy, is as a result of alcohol. So surely the treatment would be to ensure that no other patient comes down with a similar disease, because we will have solved the alcohol problem. So that's how I was thinking. So I started asking myself, why is this happening? And so the journey began, and medical education when HIV came to the fore. We are talking 1983, so it's quite a while ago. I realized that, okay, HIV, like every other disease, one has to look at the foundations, such as nutrition and other lifestyle issues, such as how stress is being managed and how to generally make the environment more conducive to good health. And that's how I started connecting dots. And I love to connect dots between manifestations of disease and then taking a few steps back and saying, surely the answer would be to treat the root cause and not just to focus on the symptomatology. So that's where I find myself. And I think what is happening now, the pandemic, has uncovered a lot of those fundamentals that we should be taking care of. And that's why, personally, secretly, I call COVID uncovered.
I love
Yeah,
it.
so that's how my story is.
Yeah, so I love your story and your journey. I mean, I think what that is the beautiful thing of being in health science, how we progress and how our personal experiences along the way shape us to become who we are today. And yeah, you've really come out of your medical doctor space and put yourself out there as a health advocate as well with your website as I think it's called Simply Healthier. We'll put a link out and in the comments and so forth. Really an advocate on you know how we should exactly tackle health from the basics, from you know to the root issues. So I love what you said on also with COVID, because there's such a link with that as well, you know, and COVID uncovered. So just let's make it a bit practical to our audience, like how now you're in this thing and you might not be completely aware on how to embrace a holistic health approach. So how can we break it in pieces and make it something that people can identify with and say, hey, I can do something about that?
Okay, one thing we need to understand is the nature of viruses. I think that is sort of like going to the ABC of COVID. The nature of viruses is that a virus only becomes activated once it is inside a cell. I like the description that it is like a memory stick, you know, that you plug into a computer. While it's out of the computer, it is actually quite useless. And then when you plug it into the computer, then the information on the memory stick can be accessed and it becomes evident. So that's what viruses are all about. So I just want to explain that that is the rationale behind hand washing and mask wearing, to try and stop the virus from actually gaining entry. Now, once it gains entry into the cells, the immune system, or even as it is trying to gain entry into the cells, the immune system's job, and we call it the innate immune system, is actually supposed to try and stop it. It is activated, the innate immune system, to recognize this virus that is invading. However, should it go in and start replicating, again, the immune system has the mandate to try and engulf it. Actually, cells are seen to try and engulf it and to halt the advancement of this. So the bottom line actually becomes the competence of the immune system. And that's where our responsibility is to ensure that the immune system is actually competent. And I give an analogy. I give it like most people's immune systems these days are suffering from severe attention deficit, and the result of that is that they become hyperactive after the fact. Okay, and I'm going to explain that. Okay, attention deficit. The way we were made, the innate immune system is supposed to be very, very attentive. Any new virus, and it should be able to pick it up. However, because of the distractions that our immune systems are under right now, distractions such as our diets, okay, the levels of stress, the levels of environmental toxins, lots of them. I think we live in the most toxic era in the history of the world today, with all the industrialization and the diesel fumes and the petrol fumes and all that. And of course, there is another toxin that is insidious, but it's there, and that is electromagnetic fields. I think we are right now exposed to them, you and I, as we are chatting from our devices.
We are.
So all those combine together to distract our immune systems. And that's what I meant by our immune systems have attention deficit. And then all that boils down to a lot of backlash and spillover, such as hormonal imbalances, such as because of our diets are full of things that our forefathers never used to have in their diets, like preservatives and food colorants and genetically modified organisms, which food need. So there's a lot to contend with on the part of the immune system. So when a virus comes along, the immune system has to decide, is this important enough? Or should I just continue trying to do my best to keep this body chugging along? Literally. And that's where we find ourselves. So now here comes a virus, and it sneaks in because of this inattentive immune system. And then it replicates and bursts out and goes for more cells. And it has this sneaky habit of hiding in certain tissues. And then it will hide there quiescent, and we might think that, okay, we are fine now, it's gone. And I'm bringing this up to try and bring to light the whole issue of the waves, the first wave and then the second wave and the third wave, just to say that the virus actually doesn't go away and come back again. It sticks around, might hide in tissues in your body, but it hasn't gone away. So the third wave, if you notice, has coincided with our winter, when most people are under some sort of stress because it is cold. They have to be indoors. They probably are eating a lot of comfort foods. And so we have a setup that will actually entice another wave or another upsurge, a surge of the virus to come up again. So now what am I saying? It goes back to the roots. Let's go back to the beginning. I don't know whether you want to interject there with any questions.
No, you must carry on, because I'm following your track. I don't want to distract you. You're going somewhere.
Okay. So here we are. The track now is that we need to be aware from the first principles, and that's where I love what Hippocrates said many thousands of years ago. And this is what he said, that all disease begins in the gut. So that's the seat of a lot of things. And the gut today is unlike the gut of our ancestors, where they were eating totally natural food, where they were sleeping enough, where they were exercising sufficiently, because obviously they had to hunt and forage for their foods, where they were eating off the ground and, eating those nice, yummy roots and fruits and grubs and insects, which were actually fortifying their gut microbiome. Now, the microbiome is an area that I find totally fascinating. And I'm saying to myself, what have we done to our gut microbiome?
Yeah.
To the extent that it no longer serves us. Because one has to understand that the gut is the biggest immune organ in its own right.
Exactly.
And yeah, so we've gone over the top with disturbing it, in the sense that we put down into our mouths a lot of things that get in there and actually disturb the good bacteria that is supposed to serve us, and allow the overgrowth of organisms that do not serve us. Organisms like yeasts, organisms like the bad bacteria. We are supposed to have a certain balance of good versus bad, so that the small piece of bad um, organisms keeps the immune system on its toes. But what have we done as medical professionals? We have decided to annihilate everything that smacks of a bacteria. So we use antibiotics liberally. I hope that will change following this episode. We do a lot of drugs that carry with them, as part of their formulation, lots of preservatives that behave like antibiotics. Um, our agricultural practices have changed so much over the years that, in fact, livestock are some of the biggest consumers of antibiotics. So by extension, we are getting antibiotics in our food supply. And of course, we can go on and on, the water supplies and all that. So the net result, unfortunately, has been such a severe erosion of our well-being that when COVID started, it found easy targets. And I'm just so sorry that it has been so devastating. But those who are doing the fundamentals, who have been doing the fundamentals, and it isn't like you start just because it is COVID. It is something that should have been a lifestyle
Yeah.
over a long time. And I think that's what the missed opportunity can be, if we don't focus on that very point of making it clear that you don't wait until you are down with a disease to try and prevent it. Because
Exactly.
honestly, by then it's too late.
Yeah. Okay, so there's so much that we can unpack from what you were saying. It's very important information. So obviously now I think lots of people that might listen will agree with you that, okay, I identify that my lifestyle is not the way it should be, and I have been a product of modern lifestyle, and I am not eating right, and so I think that is also the reaction that we are then getting, is that we are let's then get a vaccine, or let's get an antibiotic and so forth. So it just keeps getting that vicious cycle. But the purpose of this talk for me was really that, hey, to create awareness, and to also then say, but how do we then approach a healthy lifestyle, and where do we start then? We're finding ourselves in this pandemic. For me, it's a golden opportunity to teach these things, to bring it to the service, to bring awareness of what we've created as human beings. So give us a few practical tips on where to start, or if you feel like, yeah, I need to change something.
Okay. You know, I'm a great proponent of practicing what I have tried out, practicing what I preach. And a few years ago, I realized that maybe I was carrying a bit more weight than I should. And I had even rationalized it away by saying, well, all my relatives are overweight and obese, and therefore it's a family thing. So I had actually settled it in my mind that I'm going to accept this. There's nothing I can do about it. And then I got an epiphany. that I started seeing a correlation. You know, this is my passion of connecting dots. I started seeing that people with a higher weight than they should have, a higher BMI than they should have, had a tendency to develop other conditions such as arthritis. I had actually once developed some hectic arthritis. By the way, I'm speaking like this, and I'm not shy to tell my audience that I'm just over 60 years old now. So I bring it up because a lot of my relatives have said, "What? You mean you don't have any high blood pressure at your age?" And you see, that is the socialization, isn't it? That when you reach a certain age, you are supposed to be with this condition and that condition and all that. So I just want to start debunking some of those beliefs. So one of the biggest drawbacks, and I know I'm not going to earn any brownie points for saying all this. One of the biggest drawbacks is to believe that every condition should be treated medically with a preparation that comes as a drug to treat arthritis, such as, because arthritis, I'm using arthritis as an example. Arthritis is accompanied by pain, so the problem should be the pain. Okay, so let us take the pain away with this medication and that medication and the other medication, and if this one stops working, we can change to that one, and if that one ceases to be enough, let us upgrade it. That kind of mentality is exactly what is getting us into trouble. So I took a few steps back and I said to myself, if I carry on like this, and you know, I had always resisted going on to medication, I sat with myself and I said, what if what I am feeling is as a result of excessive inflammation in my body? And that inflammation is causing me to gain weight. And that weight is causing my joints to complain. What if that is the case? Okay, so my connecting the dots approach kicked in. And I said, what is causing this inflammation in my body? And I started eliminating that. And, you know, this is a very individual thing. Not everybody is the same, so I'm not prescribing anything here. But what I found after reading around and trying it out was that foods in the nightshade family, tomatoes, I loved tomatoes. I loved chilies. I loved bell peppers and brinjals and you name it. I loved it. I used to eat a lot of it. But it wasn't helping me. It was inflaming my body. And that's what actually uncovered for me the arthritis, that ensued. So I decided, okay, I'm going to, for a season, get rid of that. And then I also discovered that flour products were doing the same for my body as well, inflaming me. And so I decided to eliminate those as well. And the weight fell off, literally. So I just want to put it out there that high BMIs are actually an indication of chronic inflammation. And if we can reconceptualize a few things, would actually do ourselves a favor, because then you start seeing the responsibility that you can take. And that's a big thing for me, to enable people to see their own responsibility for their own health. Rather
Absolutely.
than what I like to talk about, outsourcing their health to somebody else.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing a bit of your personal journey in it and making it really practical. And you look absolutely great. So you definitely are practicing what you're preaching for 60 years old. I would not have said that. But I love also what you said is that it's an awareness, and then once you are aware by listening to talks like this, is to take responsibility and take your health back in your own hands. And I love it because it also ties in quite a lot with what we stand for in the birthing scenario. It's the same there. Like we've given birth to the doctors and we're not in control anymore. Where that's also what we're doing is, hey, taking responsibility back, and it's my body, it's my birth. And it's the same with health. It's the same, and it's by empowering people. I think it's more a lack of knowledge, and we are products of where we grow up in. So now that we've got this more awareness, Dr. Eseza, I think we can talk forever on practical outworkings of it, but I think it's very important that people are realizing, hey, there's something I can do about it other than taking pills, and that we have a responsibility to make our bodies, they are incredibly designed, they are miracles. If we know how to work with them, how they will serve us so well. So maybe you can just finish off with a few practical tips. That's for everyone, no matter what condition you have. Just a few basics, and then maybe you can also tell us if people want to dive a bit more, if you are also open for consultations to unpack specific health issues going forward.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I like to go back to the beginning. And I realized one thing: our modern lifestyle has turned a few things, convenient as they are, like, yeah, we can never do without this communication, or the lights, or the fast transport. We won't go back there.
Mm-mm.
But on a personal level, what I want us to do, or what I would recommend, is to ask yourself whether a change in your diet might be a change backwards to things like fresh, organically grown foods, and not making a lifestyle of eating fast, convenient, packaged foods. Okay, that's the first thing that I discovered. Then, the more you do that, the more you'll discover that your taste buds will be reminded of how to source out that food and to actually enjoy it. And in those foods that are grown organically and grown well, and not just pushed at you because they've been processed, are a plethora of nutrients that are good for us, good for our well-being, as well as our immune system. So, yeah, let's start right there. And then I started realizing that long ago, the timetable of our forefathers and foremothers, if there's such a word, was different, in that because of not having all these amenities, and perhaps living in a very primitive, very basic way. Let's start a day, for example. The day would start at dawn, when the sun rose, and they would look out into this, and actually got them motivated for the day, because our rhythms, our internal rhythms, the circadian rhythm, is made to be following a certain timetable, such that at sunrise, you rise with the sun, and the cortisol levels go up, and those enable you to be motivated to go out there and look for some food. Okay, but that isn't the case in our modern lifestyle, because we might remain in the dark but continue to eat, have a big, heavy breakfast, and hope that the day will go well. Well, our ancestors didn't, because they didn't have food first thing in the morning. Probably ate it around about midday, the afternoon, when they had found the food. Okay? Then, after they found their food, let's say it be a small little animal or some insects, some berries, some roots. They may have grown something even. They have to eat it in time to get back home before it is too dark. So they probably take it home, prepare it, eat it. But if the sun goes down, so too do they go down to sleep or get in and converse around a fire, nice dim lights, and do a bit of family bonding as they prepare to turn in for the night's sleep. Now, that window within which they ate was plus or minus 6 hours, I'll say between 12 o'clock noon and 6 o'clock as the sun's going down. Today, we call it intermittent fasting. Okay? That intermittent fasting is possible for everybody because it's going to enable the system to lower inflammation, which is a big driver of disease.
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to what most of us do, we wake up in the morning, have a huge breakfast, then by 10 o'clock we are hungry again, and then we are eating something big, and then by 1 o'clock we are like clockwork, and then by 3 o'clock we are hungry again. So our insulin levels are on a roller coaster ride. And insulin is a huge hormone, which if it goes on a roller coaster ride, every other hormone will also be on its own little roller coaster ride. And therein lies the beginning of, or the sustenance of, hormonal imbalances.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that a lot of diseases are driven by imbalanced hormones, and we are seeing it everywhere.
Yeah. So, no, it's absolutely the truth. I mean, I've got my own health journey with that regard of getting inflammation down and healing my gut, and so all of those things are really witnessing big time. So thank you so much for setting the foundation. I'm also quite a firm believer of that intermittent fasting. I've experienced that too, and my body absolutely loved that too. So yeah, there's so much that we can regain again just by knowledge. Due to time, I think we sort of reached the end of our time. Dr. Eseza, are you open for consultations? Maybe there are people that have been listening and say, oh, I know I need help in this department. I feel inspired that I actually can heal myself again. It's not like I'm on a pill and that's it for me. And also, so where can they find you?
Okay, I can be contacted on my website. I hope we can share this on my website.
Mm-hmm. We'll share it in the notes.
Best found on my website, and then we'll take it from there. It's going to encourage me as well to interact a lot more with my website. And then, of course, I am on Facebook. And but my website is www.simplyhealthier.co.za.
Wonderful. We will put it in the show notes as well and in the comments. www.simplyhealthier.co.za. That's wonderful. And then let's just round off, Dr. Eseza, on just taking it back to COVID. Any real things that we can feed our bodies with right now that will help to boost our immune system? Any tips that we really need now, short term?
Yes. Obviously, I have mentioned that we need to go back to organic, fresh, as much as possible, avoid processed fast foods, because everybody should be shocked when they realize that when I was younger, we had to eat bread within a day, otherwise it became moldy. Today you can buy a loaf of bread and get it home and it will just become what I used to call auto toast. It toasts itself before it ever gets moldy. That's how much preservatives and
Yeah.
other things are to it. But yeah, go back to wholesome foods and be strict on that one. Then, because of the need to close a few gaps in our diet, because the agriculture has changed a lot of things, they are deficiencies. And they're common deficiencies, but life-changing if you can address them. Vitamin C, I was telling some friends of mine that because it is a water-soluble vitamin, very similar to vitamin B, water-soluble vitamins, our bodies cannot retain them. So there's always a deficit between what the diet supplies and what you actually getting. So you may need to look at good supplementation. And I've been supplementing my diet with good quality supplements for a long time. And I think it is totally, totally important and invaluable to do. So supplements, then obviously wholesome food, then know your body and work out what inflames you and simply avoid it. It's not simple. It's not simple, but I'll say simply. Then vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. Fortunately, you can help your skin to make it by spending some time in the sun and exercising as you're out there in the sun. Your body actually has the ability to make it, but first, you have to have the right fats, the essential fatty acids in you for there to be that conversion. And I think that's the missing link. So I'm going to say that avoid junk fats. And I'm sure you're asking yourselves, oh, wow, what are junk fats? Well, most of the spreads and things like that, you need to learn to become an expert reader of labels. There was a time when margarine was very, very popular, whatever brand. But now they're realizing that it's no longer a good option for health. So you might want to consider other better fats that we once thought were not good, like butter. And look for good quality butter, or ghee, or some plant oils like olive oil and coconut oil. Now I say that because it is important to avoid those very inflammatory fats. Then finally, I just want to say, focus on variety. Have a variety in your diet, and that's going to enhance your gut microbiome to serve you better. If you have a variety of foods in your diet, don't stick to just one thing or two things or just three things. Have various things. I know I sometimes go over the top with variety, and I hear a few murmurings in my family. A salad, and then this sauce, and then this greens, and then this food, and then the other food, all in one meal. Are you crazy? No, I'm just trying to exemplify variety. You don't have to eat too much of everything. You just need a little bit of what is spread out before you. And I love to eat raw foods that.
Oops. You are back. I can hear you again.
Okay.
No, you now muted. You've muted yourself. I don't know what you've done, but we've lost you. You are on mute. Okay, while Dr. Eseza is figuring out how to unmute herself, let me just conclude here like this. Just really practical things you can do to take health back, and obviously most of the things is what we eat. Then obviously make sure that you get enough rest in. Sleep is important. That's where so much of our recovery happens, when we sleep well. Relaxation is super important. Breathing is important. Just going out in nature, go for a walk. Those kind of things are for free. They don't cost money, but are super important for our well-being. Spend time with your loved ones. So I might repeat myself here because I've said it before in different shows, and we had different shows about it, but these really are the basics. So I hope you feel empowered, or not overwhelmed, but empowered to take your health in your own hands. And this is a real good time to become very aware of these issues that we have in our life. That is a product of our modern lifestyles, and we should not be victims. We should be overcomers. So I hope you feel inspired, and we will definitely going to get Dr. Eseza back on the show. Be on the lookout for that. She's got lots to say. We're going to dive into some hormonal health issues that's very much related to women's health, things like infertility, endometriosis, and so forth, which is also very much linked to these lifestyle stuff. So stay tuned, empower yourself, be the healthiest version of yourself. So that was us for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week again. Take care.